Hello and welcome to today's Wild Hearthstone deck tech and gameplay video on Dragon Aggro. Dragon Aggro is a deck that does sort of what you would think from the name. It runs loads of dragons and cards that care about you having dragons, be them aggressive cards like Alexstrasza's Champion, Broodkeeper, which is also an aggressive card, or even the occasional defensive card like Molten Breath. We are also running some just generally good aggressive cards. Cards like a Crooked Cook, or weirdly even a Bash or a Peasant, are all good cards that don't necessarily care about dragons, but if you're going to try and make a unconventional go-wide aggressive deck in Warrior, you got to make some weird card choices. At the top end, pretty self-explanatory. A couple of Draconic Delicacies and some Outrider's Axes, both of which can be used to go over the top or just be the big scary thing at the top of the curve. Also have a single copy of Gorgon Zormu, which is, if nothing else, is a fine body for 4 mana. Is also a dragon, and if you happen to run out of cards or gas, being able to just slowly generate a big scary cheese that summons a board all of itself as another sort of last bit of gas before you peter out as an aggressive deck is actually better than you would think. But that's all for the decks list, basically. It's super simple. Hit the ground running with things, hit them with things, draw some cards, have some dragons to play to some various benefit, and if you don't kill them by the time you've really the Draconic Delicacy, if by the time this card comes out you haven't killed them, you're probably not gonna kill them. Honestly, a pretty old school aggressive deck. But anywho, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video if you like it, subscribe if you like my grab bag of content and would like to see more in the future. And if you have any questions like I don't have X, what about Y, or other generally nice and or constructive comments, I'll do what I can to respond to what I see. With all that out of the way, we'll go on now to game number 1. And game number 1 with our little Dragon Aggro list. And this is as true of an aggro list as you could really hope to get. Really looking for ideally a 1-drop, but we have, so yeah, we'll throw back the Bash. Hopefully we'll get a 1-drop, but even if we don't, we have coin and things to do, so it'll be okay. But normally, yeah, you want to hit the ground running on turn 1 with a 1-drop. I was going to say unless we get lucky and draw one, but can't win them all. We will go ahead and coin out the Crooked Cook. It's not the most aggressive creature in the world, but it is a creature that will apply pressure and will help just give us card draw on our largely aggressive deck. And our opponent is doing a whole lot of nothing, which we love. So we'll go ahead and Alexstrasza's Champion. And I'm actually gonna take a phrase that's normally comes from Magic: The Gathering, which is the other game I play a lot of, and apply it to Hearthstone. Face is the place, or math is for blockers, whichever one you want to call it. It's not really the important bit. Guess we'll play another Crooked Cook. Go face. Again, face is the place. Default to going face, but if we need to use some of our tools in our deck to get rid of whatever thing they're going to summon now, that's perfectly fine with us. And cards like Molten Breath can only go against opposing minions, but Bash can also be a face hitter if you need it to be. You know, do I care? Yeah, I don't care. They're on the back foot. Face is the place. Ooh, don't click on the board. Ignore their board. Hope they don't have sweepers or Reno. But we're doing pretty good, honestly. We're not like running out of gas or anything. Make our opponent trade. Perfectly fine. Okay, this could suck depending on what they get. The Reborn Taunt one sucks. The 6 damage to all sucks. That one really sucks. A little tiny baby cat. I love you, but you have claws. That hurts. That one really stinks. You might as well Molten Breath. Don't really have a whole lot of other options, unfortunately. And this is one of those, I'm even more happy now that we just went face and ignored their board. Blah, blah. Because if we're going to be honest, like, very traditional, like, let me phrase it, very few traditional, like, summon dude go face aggro decks see any amount of play. That almost certainly in just the game. We don't come back from that. But yeah, those decks don't really have a place in Hearthstone, unfortunately. So if you are like me and you like those style of decks, this is one of those, like, you have to accept that Hearthstone is not the place for this. But we had some cool dragon cards, and I initially made this into like a dragon control thing with that new Resurrected Dragon that died card that came from Emerald Dream or whatever, the set. But that's equally as slow and dirtily. At least a traditional aggressive deck does eventually win games. Yeah. I mean, on the bright side, when we trade into the Death Lord, we do get a dude. Well, he says before he's not able to trade in. I mean, if we don't have anything else to do, we might as well just play Gorgon Zormu and just kind of sit. Well, no. Delicacy's the bigger threat. We can always play like an Axe next turn and use it to hit in and get a card draw if we need to and stuff. Although, again, if we're being honest, yeah, the game is basically over. More so just continuing it for the sake of the video than I am for like any actual thoughts I have on winning this thing. But that's fine. Luckily, the delicacy can only be attacked one time. Pardon? Okay. Okay. Do I just ignore him now and return to going face? Is that like weirdly the answer? Yeah, hero power. Come on, you want a hero power? Make my job easier. I think I just want to go face. Okay, hang on. Let me see. I might actually have lethal. I'm getting ahead of myself. Do I have lethal? 4, 6, 7, no. 6, not quite. Right? There's no way that I can think of that I get lethal. If nothing I do kills him anyway, we will just take a turn off. Play the Outriders X. We're only going to trade into the Lifesteal one. It's the only one I care about. And we'll play a Whelp. Why not? But we're in a good spot. And we have sort of, if we're being honest, in referring back to the deck tech where I said if by the time you've played a Draconic Lackey or Delicacy, sorry, if the game isn't over, it's going to be. This is technically turn 8 is when we would have been able to summon it normally anyway. So we have sort of kind of stayed true to it. And not for nothing, the game is not over. Okay, what do we do here? How do we make this happen? I think we can do 7, and we'll trade a 1. Hopefully what they summon doesn't have taunt. That's not taunt? Oh, it is taunt, right? No, right, I forgot. I haven't seen this card in a hot minute. 6. In that case, we'll do Whelp. Weapon hit. Does that change things? Not exactly, but it's very close to changing things. I guess we will bash their one little dude here. And again, put them in a spot where they have to have an answer. Play a peasant, even though I don't think we're going to get the card draw out of it. I don't want to go too hard in case they happen to have any number of sweepers that they could have drawn the Hellfire thing from the Symphony card. They could also have a Reno. Any number of countless things. Gul'dan's Gift into... Pardon? Next card your opponent play... Oh, this fun, not totally fucking broken card. Next card your opponent plays cost your opponent's health instead of mana. Up to 10. I think we still got him, though. You would think, since they nerfed... well, it's wild, so I know they don't care as much. But yeah, like the fact that Yogg-Saron is damn near a sweeper that's available to like any class is like really very cool. And actually ended up turning it around and getting a win, even though I thought we were over. Which is one of the reasons why, if we were being honest, and even me being the saltiest of sailors that I am, I can admit in this moment of like, you know, clarity, that you shouldn't really ever quit. There's always technically an out, more often than not. Especially in a deck like this, where you're going to be hitting your opponent in the face regardless of how any board state is, so you might as well stay in it until you're actually dead. But anywho, with all of that out of the way, we'll go on now to game number 2. Ooh, and the mirror matchup with our... well, not the mirror matchup. Game number 2 with our Dragon Aggro Warrior. When I said mirror, I meant that it's against another warrior, but it's it's never been a Dragon Aggro mirror. Usually, yeah, more control-y stuff, which is fine. Might as well play the Gift Wrap Whelp. Not only does it buff our board, but is like a, you know, it's well, I mean, not, let me rephrase this. It is oftentimes a 1-mana 3/2, which is pretty nice. Guess we'll play the Fairy Dragon, since it is technically the most stats. Another card that might seem weird is Adaptive Amalgam. It's just an okay dragon at 1 cost, because there's not a whole lot. And the fact that it can keep, you know, like Gift Wrap Whelp buffs, or the Emissary buffs, as well as sort of kind of hedge your bets against how do you want to word it, against mill, kind of, is nice. And when in doubt, say it with me, face is the place. I would say math is for blockers, but Hearthstone doesn't work like Magic, so that one doesn't really transfer as well. Honestly, next turn, I think we would just play an Outrider's Axe and keep applying pressure. If our opponent is some very controlling deck, they're going to win in the long run anyway. Since they're going to, odds are, be able to gain way more armor than I can deal damage, might as well take advantage of it while we can. And yes, there's an argument to be said about saving the Outrider's Axe for card draw, but they're not playing enough creatures to where I think I'm going to get a chance to like cash in on the card draw. But anywho, I think we will play Gorgon Zormu next. That's kind of what I was waiting for, with some sort of sweeper. But we take those, that's fine. Gorgon Zormu, and we can play the Amalgam. Again, go face. Luckily, with the draw of the Delicacy, we can have the dragon in hand to turn on Scale Rider. One of the perks about this is that, like, some of the cards like Scale Rider and Amber Whelp, a lot of them are like not that, you know, budget intensive. They're just a whole lot of commons and things that don't require a whole lot. Granted, the Delicacies and the Gorgon Zormu might, you know, that could be expensive. Although, you could have also gotten Gorgon Zormu for free, so, like I did, so I didn't have to, you know, open it traditionally, which was nice. If he gives me a target to draw a card off the axe with, I will. Yeah, I'm not gonna totally spit in the face of RNGesus. In the meantime, Broodkeeper for more weapons. Scale Rider going face. Face with the rest. Again, face is the place. When in doubt, face. Even when not in doubt, still face. In my experience, well, that's fine, we're gonna keep a thing on the board. A cheese is like an okay play. Really anything past like 4 or 5 cost minions. Of course, 8 cost has a whole lot of like, you know, 8 cost and up has just a lot of like good juicy cards, but isn't that right, banana? But we're not going to be too picky. To the point where I think we're actually, all that being said, I think we're just going to play the cheese so we don't give up any sort of tempo gained here. Does absolutely suck to get one of these can't attack dudes, but that's just part of the game. Isn't that right, smokers? My little tiny silver baby cat. Yeah. Although, I mean, again, he's at a point where he has to have an answer or he just dies. And we've gotten to the point where, like we said in the deck intro, again, if, you know, if they're not dead by Draconic Delicacy time, you might not win. And it's Draconic Delicacy time, and we won. Honestly, this deck has been a whole lot of fun. It's not one that you would think would see a whole lot of play, and if we're being honest, I don't think this thing is gonna, you know, get to, like, #1 legend, but it got me to, you know, gold after a ladder reset. And for me, that is the mark of a deck that is a perfectly fine deck and a load of fun and will work for the majority of people. And it will work for you too. So, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video if you like it. Subscribe if you like my grab bag of content and would like to see more in the future. And if you have any sort of questions or constructive comments, I'll do what I can to respond to what I see. Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.